about 6:30, quarter to 7 in the morning. It's pretty early morning. Pretty good size swells, nothing outrageous, but giving the boat a forward, backward roll. Once in a while there's a nice big swell. Lifts the boat up, drives the front end down. I think this one might be a good one. Yeah, it's taking us pretty high. Oh yeah, here we go. Nope. Some kind of an albatross. Now it's about 12:30 and there's nothing much different than the silhouettes in the fog of the mountains we're going by. For a while there was a current during a lecture that was very, very distinctive. Why it existed, I don't know. It'd be interesting to ask about that. It's not evident now, but you could definitely see where currented water was running past placid water. It's now a calm sea. Unfortunately, the weather is going to prevent the beauty of the sun, but all throughout this area are glaciers, small glaciers coming off of what don't look to be terribly high mountains. And we'll meet a particularly larger glacier up here a ways, apparently. Look at that, it's rainy and blustery, it's going to be very pretty. The pilot was telling one of the guests how the glaciers have so dramatically pulled back. Here it's quite easy to imagine how the glacier would have covered most of the dark places. You can see the U shape more or less of the valley. Certainly here at the toe you can see how it's pulled back, and not too terribly long ago, since there's not much in the way of foliage over there that I can see from here. And there's the moraines there in front, and a view out the other side. Again, there's a certain hauntingness to it, but it would be very spectacular if the sun were out. Oh well. All the mountains are covered by these narrow, what look like narrow streams and falls, runoffs from the melting glaciers. You can almost see how that snow cap up on top would have been decades ago, wrapped around the mountain further and coming from left to right down through what I'm guessing is another side glacial channel. This runoff immediately on the other side. It'd be fun if you could pull over and get out and hike all back up through there. Here, a relatively narrow glacier almost tumbling down the side of that cliff. You can see that these were all hanging glaciers at one time. The main glacier going from right to left up to this height. You can see how it's worn away a little bit from the top out to the left side a bit. And then at some point it just became its own glacier. Interesting that this bird still finds it in its interest to be flying in this gale and right straight into it. Way down there, the fjord turns to the left, presumably snakes back into those mountains. You can see that they're snow covered also. I could just imagine parking a kayak over there on the shore somewhere and setting up a tent, spending a couple days just roaming around carefully. It looks like perfect grizzly country, except there isn't anything there. Rain has stopped for a while, so I thought I would just pan down, get a slow view of this environment. Barren rocks with some kind of green foliage on parts of it. Probably a scrub kind of a bush. Many gouges and cracks in the rocks that have become pathways for the runoff for every rain. Here the solid rock doesn't hold much water, so the runoff is probably the direct result of today and the last week's or whatever period of time rain. Let's go in for a closer look. Imagine if we could park and traipse around for a day. How fun that would be. Could we get across those streams? Or do they just look small from here? And is that actually boggy land or is it solid land? I wonder what the extent of the ecology is on this island. Probably a glacial moraine of some sort. That's what kind of a bird?
Wilson's stormcap. Yeah.
Now en route into the Kirk Channel, and they sent a dinghy way up ahead with a depth finder to find out if the tide is at the right point for us to exit. Somewhere up in there, you can see it right in the dead center, the smallest part. There's so many falls that they just become redundant, but they're pretty and some stand out. You can just imagine how fun it would be to be up close to these. A rare opportunity. The bow has been opened for passengers. Smoke and the route ahead of us. This is perhaps the narrowest point that we're going to line up to right now to go right where probably a current rushing through there too. In fact, you can almost see boils right here. Mild boils from the water in the cave rushing through the little gap up here. Sliding over to the right into the current. Stay to the left. Looks like the current coming from to the right. Either that or it's being kicked over there, I don't know. Now a large bird landed over here in the trees that it was dark, so I may not be able to find it. Yep. And we think this is a condor then.